Storytelling Ron here, and this is about low magic or magic items, but kind of on the lower level, and how you can just create your own, just throw them out there, and for the adventure. So this is how I do it. If I create a town, I will create like the little locations, and I will actually think about each little person can do something. They have a little skill or whatever. So, this one, this is Razland here in Storm King's Thunder, and they're going up the long road. And I was going to have a bunch of little adventures in here with them, the ruins. I kind of researched, the background of that little town. I had little zombies. They had the 5 farms or whatever, the Sleeping Dragon, the little Lord's Alliance keep here, whatever. They never went here though, so then actually, and I did a little. There was a bog there, so I did that. And then there was a bunch of road merchants going up and down the road. So I wanted to kind of have them coming in and out, and they could sell them things along the road. But they went to another. I'm going to show you the other one they went to. But anyway, so like I have a blacksmith, and he had a +1 crafted sword. You could sell that. A tanner +1 leather armor. Wheelwright shield maker +1 shield. Fletcher +1 blow, +1 arrows. And these are the prices. And then of course an herbalist and gardener who has herbs of healing that it takes like a short rest or 10 minutes to actually use it. So it's not like you can't use it in combat. So that's 10 gold. But if you take it, you'll heal up. And this is, remember, like first, second level characters. So this is like ooh to them. And they're going to want to get in, and you want to get them kind of get these little dreams of getting these things. So they have to go out and go do something to get gold. This is just my ideas. I was going to have some Lord's Alliances coming through, or they encounter them, and then them kind of offering them these things. And, obviously they couldn't afford them probably, but I never played this one out, but until later. But anyway, I just figured if they were to encounter them, what kind of stuff would they have, to offer? Because I know Lord's Alliance was here, so they might have offered them stuff, especially if they, maybe fought the little zombies that were in the water, or killed whatever that was in here that was pestering the fishermen. But anyway, they went to this place, and this was a lot of fun. I like doing this. Like you draw a little town or place, and then you put little adventures around there. Like there was a young troll here. You can see right here, lake troll, and I've already talked about this before. But anyway, the marshy wash. They had something scary in the water there that they avoided. The swamp grabber thing I did here. My own little creation. But what I had again was her herb of healing, the herbalist, and the bread of sustenance. It was at the monastery there. The tanner, and the shield maker, they could provide, and the smith, they could give them some things to have as well. And there was an arena challenge, which was cool, that the barbarian did. So it's just little things like that. You just do little things, and I'll go into a little bit more about how I kind of think about those little things. So I don't really use like the dungeon master. I think that's it for this one. I don't use the dungeon master's things for. Oh, here, let me go to Goldenfield. Sorry, one last thing. For this one, when they went to Golden Fields, I also had items for sale there, and this was really like popular. They had the characters really like this. The nuts of strength gives them +1 strength for. So I say 10 minutes, but it's really per combat. Like once the combat's done or whatever it is, but 10 minutes, whatever. Herbs of healing, fast, 2d8, so that's like a little healing potion. Trent syrup, which is resist bludgeon. I actually made it just damage resist in the game. I didn't even differentiate between bludgeon, slash, and pierce. I just kind of forgot about that. But anyway, resist bludgeon kind of makes sense though for the Trent syrup because it comes from Trent. And they cook it down and make it. And so that's 50 gold. Rich breads. So if they eat that, it'll give them +1 die 10 hit points, false hit points. They can add a little there. Nutritious, delicious meal, +1 inspiration. Might be a little too much, but whatever. Bread of sustenance, that'll heal them, but again, that one takes a little longer. See, it's a little cheaper, 25 gold. Meaty jerky, which is because they had a barbarian, and I figured you'd use frenzy or whatever, so exhaustion. So with a short rest and eating that jerky gives them a little gains 1 level of exhaustion. So that's kind of what you can do. You kind of make things based on their needs and what they want to do. And let me go to the next. Okay, let me go to the next one. I'm going to pause here so I don't bug you too much about this. Okay, so in my Rime of the Frost Maiden, I always like to make my own treasure lists, and Yeah, I do like some of the stuff in the Dungeon Masters Guild. I do, and I probably should throw some in there once in a while. I just like to make my own that are similar, but so you can see I just I figure out the way they find things in locations, and then what categories, and then what values they have, and then for this one I figured survival gear and survival food would be pretty important, especially at lower levels when we're playing it hour by hour. The dire needs. So that's treasure. That's treasure, finding a jar of jelly, to add to the soups. Oh, so let me go to that real quick just to explain. I've decided to do recipes in this one. Because remember, they're camping out, they're hiding, and I'm thinking while they're doing 16 or 12 hours or 16 hours of freezing and in their little area, kind of off on the camera, it'd be fun to have them do something in that little moment. So cooking, I figured, would be kind of cool. And I should have done more too, like sharpening weapons. Like imagine like in the wintertime, Vikings or whatever are hiding in their their cabins in their huts, and they're probably doing a lot of stuff inside. Blacksmithing or leather work or whatever. I should have done that. Or sewing. I should have probably done more kits. I think that would be kind of cool too. I should probably add some kits to this, more kits that they can get and start using and start fixing their stuff and then damaging it. But I haven't done that, but I probably should do that. Anyway, so I do have cooking recipes. So the cleric has a cooking kit, and he has the first 3 right here: knucklehead soup. And it was really funny because when he first failed, they're all cracking up, making fun of his cooking. But if he made it, DC 12, he needs 1 wood, 1 hour to cook. He has some tundra herbs, and he's going to be running out, so he's got to get some more. See, that's a treasure item, tundra herbs. Especially now that it's 2 years of winter, the herbs are going to be rare, and people will probably have them stored away and are holding on to them. But I'll definitely have him find that as a treasure, and he can now use it to make these soups. And then this one gives him +1 d4 heal. This one gives him a bonus +1 d4 bonus blessing. It uses it up, but only 1 at a time. So if you got 4, you get to use 4 of them, but +1 here, +1 there, +1 there, +1 there. And then oil of sharpening. You know what that is. Potion of resistance. You got to get bear bones, one large bear bones, or 1 large bone from a bear. Tree bark, tundra herbs, 1 part of a monster, Annie. Ooh. And then they got to cook that down for 8 hours using 8 wood. So that give them a potion of resistance. That's just damage resistance all around. You just feel tough for that, and it lasts for 1 fight. Whatever the fight duration. So. And then finding these recipes is a treasure item, right? Once they get the recipes, like, whoa, then you can make these things. So there's that. What else do I have on here? I think that's it. I mean, I want to go. Let me pause real quick. Yeah, so that's it for the Rime of the Frost Maiden. But here's the way you think of it too. If you want to create magic items that are just kind of low, low level, simple stuff that they can get, look at the character sheet. +1 to armor class. Maybe a +1 to the initiative, or maybe +5 to the speed, whatever the item is, boost of speed, +5 feet, +5 to whatever. Obviously you want to maybe +1 to the bonus, or +1 to the actual number, either one. I mean, I usually just do the bonus, keep it simple, like, +1. So if let's say they have a strength of 18, they're +4. So they get a +1 strength thing. It's +5 now to the bonus. I kind of avoid the numbers now, that the regular score numbers or whatever they're called. I wouldn't do +1 proficiency bonus because that just adds a lot. But maybe +1, maybe proficiency to kits, like blacksmithing or specific things. I would definitely give them like a +1 thieves kits or whatever it's called, smithing kit, leather kit, medicine kit, whatever the kits are. Give them +1 things like that. That's cool. And you can give them pluses to strength or to saving throws. That's kind of cool. Like for whatever the magic item is. And then I would give magic items that give them bracers for acrobatics. Well, what do you need? What do you generally do in acrobatics? You got wraps, right? You got or a rope or so that those kind of items would give them a plus to their or advantage to their acrobatics or whatever. Animal handling. I don't even know what they do with animal handling, but maybe a whip. Or food, a recipe for food items that can, if you want to be positive for the animals. You just know their animal stuff. Lists of treats for different types of animals. Or especially books. Books are really good. Like if they get, especially for wizards and stuff, if they get a book, that would give them a plus or advantage to their Arcana roll, or especially like history. If they find a book of the history of the area, so that would give them an advantage to this area of on their history rolls, or history of dragons, or history of the epic stuff, and they get an advantage to that roll. So it's like they got these tomes now that are really important to them. And you can either have them read it, or they can just have it like accessible, that they use. Either one. So that's what you want to do too. You want to break these down into things that they can get bonuses for. Like if they find a investigation, if they find a magnifying glass, then they get a plus or advantage or a plus to investigation for close-up things or whatever. Anyway. So that's kind of what that is. And the same here, attack bonus, damage type, or damage bonus, or plus hit die. I like giving them a plus hit die to their damage. For weapons, and hit points, of course. Get more hit points. You can even do the hit die thing. They get an extra hit die. Tough bedroll. A bedroll that gives them an extra hit die for resting. You know what I mean? Because it's so fluffy. And of course, spells. +1 to spell casting. +1 to spell save DC. +1 to spell attacks, +1 to spell save DCs, stuff like that, and or more spells, or you can. I even do things where I'll have like a ring of spell storing, where they get an extra spell slot, or 3 spell slots or whatever. So that's cool. Or the wand will do it. And another thing I really love doing with magic items is if they get a magic item they really like, I like to grow that magic item. So that's really important. It really makes them attuned to the item, but the item grows with them and even becomes sentient at some point. Sentient, whatever, at some point. So that's kind of fun. Like, and I have things called Gem of Enchantments where they can find gems of enchantment. And so whenever you see like these lordly magic items, right, they have all these gems in them. So I'm thinking, well, those gems probably matter to that item. And thusly, they could either take them out of those ones, because to me those gems are very magical, so they're very fluid. You can take them out of these stupid, maybe they find a magic item that's lame, so they take those gems out and then put it onto attune it to their item, and then gives them another +1 to whatever, or increases it, or it makes it sentient or whatever, that they become more aware and want to do more and serve their master and become more powerful. And I love creating. That's really been a really like the little known battle axe. When she fights with it, but she always had a problem with range, right? So she's always like trying to get up to where the fight is. So I let her, the battle axe. The next level of magic is that she can now throw it 30 feet, and then just pick it up, and it's same attack, So that's a cool thing about you can do with magic items is have them get that +1 magical bow, and then when they go up a level and they've really done well with the bow, then suddenly the bow, gets a little +1. Now it's +2. What? You see little, engravings appear on it. You know what I mean? Whoa! And then, you know what I mean? Just have that bow grow with them. And I would do kind of like rituals with it too, like they had with the bows. These rangers, they got them from a Trent. So the Trent gave them a branch. You are what, may these serve you well. Like, oh, so they got them made into bows, and now they grow little leaves on, and they get stronger, and now if he sets the bow in the ground, it'll grow arrows, and then so there's like 6 different kinds of arrows that he can grow if he gets to a good garden, with some druids and helps let it grow. And I have it just grow overnight. I don't know why at night, but whatever. I should have it grown this day, but anyway, but he can grow like +1 bow or arrows, one use kind of arrows. And then he has other things with the bow too, like the 2 of them got the bows. So one guy, it's +1, but now he can use it to deflect, add to his once per turn, and the other guy can disengage, as he gets away, he can use that with his bow to do that. So they love their bows, So get their character, think about that. That's really a great way of doing a magic item. And yeah, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, go through the magic items, just see which ones you like and don't, and like if you don't like it, or if you like part of it, change it. There's too many. Let me give you an example, just a little critique here. A lot of these things are great, and they're fun to use. But there's like just this one example, axe of the berserker, right? Berserker axe or whatever. So you get a berserker axe, it's +1. Yeah. Um, uh, I'm getting older here. It's cursed though, so then you got to roll DC 15, Wisdom saving throw, or you go berserk and attack everybody, including your own party, and then you can't use any other weapon besides that axe. So that's a little too much. That's a little bit too much, and that's kind of a prime example of how a lot of these items in here are difficult to manage, especially when you're playing in a group session. And maybe the first couple times it's kind of fun and funny, but after a while it's going to get old. You know what I mean? So things like that, where it has kind of like this, like you have to have an index card to explain it all. I don't really. It becomes a little tedious, I think. So I mean, so stuff like that. Just now if you and your players are really really nerdy, really into it, and you want to go for that kind of weirdness, that's fine. But just kind of, I feel like, at least in my lifestyle, playing it once a week, and you got other things to deal with, and then when you go into play it, and then you have something really complicated you got to remember, like this, like the tricks of that thing, it can get a little bit too, slow down the story time, and gets into like, oh, I gotta do, whatever. I'm just saying, I like simple magic items that kind of do their thing, and you and it's all positive, it's all fun stuff. But yeah, that's just my style. But anyway, so what I'm getting at with you two is, feel free to make little items and one use items, or a couple time use items that they can use, early on when you're playing a low level group. Get them things like that, nuts and herbs, and little things that they can use with little help, little bonuses that and that'll really help them, encourage them to keep going and want to get more. And it's that whole getting them addicted to the whole bonus thing, like in games when they always get you level up kind of thing. The whole level up thing, is really part of the whole addiction and fun to D&D and playing role playing games. Right, so that's my little bit on giving you advice on low level magic items and how you can just throw in and incorporate them in any way you want. All right, hope that was helpful.